Welcome to Hwange Chronicles podcast. Our latest episode will delve into the recent meeting of the Hwange Local Board, where we took detailed notes to provide our community with an insightful summary. Join us as we engage into a deep dive conversation about the vital decisions that took place, encouraging everyone to attend these important public meetings for a noble cause. Local governance plays a crucial role in our everyday decisions, shaping the very fabric of our communities. Our deep dive will explore how councillors operate and influence our lives, from managing business permits and overseeing cemetery operations to providing a live window into real-time staff efforts tackling complex local issues. Stay tuned for an eye-opening journey that highlights significance of community involvement and the impact of local governance on our daily lives.
Our mission today really is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from this meeting.
Okay.
We want to uncover the core challenges, maybe some surprising intricacies of local governance, show you how decisions are made, or sometimes how they aren't made when the stakes feel incredibly personal.
Right. It's not always straightforward.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We want you to understand not just what they discuss, but why these issues matter so much and what it all reveals about that constant push and pull facing local authorities trying to serve their citizens. So we begin with this moment of solemn prayer. It immediately sets a very deliberate tone, doesn't it? It hints at the seriousness these local leaders feel about their roles.
The weight of responsibility.
Yeah. Then the meeting opens with this powerful reminder of their overarching mission to shape their history through infrastructure, quality services.
Okay. High ideals.
Right. And to adhere to something called Vision 28 and minimum service delivery standards.
Yeah.
It's quite the opening statement, a really high-minded declaration of purpose right at the start.
It is. And what's striking, like you said, is that immediate contrast. You have this high-level, almost spiritual, strategic vision, the Vision 28, which, the sources say is this long-term plan up to 2028 specific goals.
Right, big picture stuff.
Big picture, but then boom, the very next item is the practical reality of checking who's actually there.
Attendance, yeah.
And confirming in the minutes from the last meeting. That immediate pivot from grand ambition to mundane admin work, it really reveals a fundamental challenge.
How do you connect the two?
Exactly. How do these big plans actually translate into the daily grind of managing a city, especially when, the first hurdles are these basic administrative tasks?
And speaking of that daily grind, even just confirming the minutes sparks this little mini debate about efficiency.
Oh, really? Even that?
Yeah. One counselor asked, do we need to go through all the pages when there's nothing, can we speed this up? Well, another argues for thoroughness.
Right. The classic diligence versus speed argument.
Totally. And it's not just about reviewing documents. It's like a microcosm of the council's constant tension. It shows how even these foundational admin tasks can become an early battleground.
Setting a tone, maybe?
Yeah, setting a precedent for future friction between doing things properly, due diligence, and that urgent pressure to just get results. It really highlights the challenge, balancing accountability with the desire to just move things forward. Okay, here's where it gets really fascinating and quite revealing, I think, about the realities of running a town or city. One of the first big discussions revolves around a core tension lots of councils face: their acknowledged limited resources.
Oh, the money problem?
Versus their fundamental duty to offer services. So what happens when private companies, private entities, step in to do what the council simply can't afford to do itself?
Well, that point is incredibly insightful. It really exposes a strategic vulnerability, doesn't it? It's not just, we're a bit short on cash. It's a pretty candid admission by the council itself.
Yeah, owning up to it.
Of its own resource failures. Yeah. And that forces them to consider, should we incentivize private entities to do what are essentially core public services?
Right, like should we give them a discount?
Exactly. The question in the meeting was whether there should be some kind of discount or some way of motivating people who are doing development that you have fallen short to provide.
Wow.
It really blurs the lines of traditional governance, It raises complex questions about accountability, equity. What's the role of public authorities when they just can't meet basic community needs anymore? It feels pragmatic, but it's got big implications.
Again, you can hear the debate right there in the room. Some councillors are pushing for quick action, basically saying, let them do that, because if we debate again, it means discuss. Let's just get on with it.
There's that urgency again.
Yeah, a clear urgency. But others are saying, hold on, we need policy changes, but maybe only after we started.
So act now, write the rules later.
Sort of suggests that, yeah. A recognition that immediate action is needed, but they also know a long-term policy framework is crucial. That tension is just palpable. And then just to add another layer of, bureaucracy. There's mention of an existing MOU.
A memorandum of understanding.
Right, a formal agreement outlining collaboration with an organization already offering these services. But guess what? It's awaiting signing.
Oh, of course. Stuck in the system.
Exactly. It just highlights those frustrating bureaucratic hurdles that can hold up even partnerships that seem like a good idea. Okay, so moving from those broad strokes, the big vision stuff and the resource worries, the council then gets really grounded, tangible stuff.
Right.
Specific land use applications. First up, they look at an application for a sport bar. Seems straightforward enough, maybe?
Well, maybe not.
Well, the sources show it's actually rigorously checked against existing rules that say leak outlets. That's their term, I think, for places selling alcohol.
Okay, leak outlets. Got it.
They should not exceed 40% of the total number of commercial units in a particular area.
So there are density rules.
Yeah. It's not just a zoning thing. It highlights the council's active role in shaping the social fabric of the community, balancing business opportunity with concerns about noise, public order, the character of the area. But then the discussion shifts, and it shifts to a topic that touches everyone on a really deep emotional level. The cemetery.
Yes. Always sensitive.
Definitely. There's a recommendation to allocate some land within the existing cemetery, specifically for Zimbabwe National Army members. But the discussion goes way deeper than just that allocation.
And this immediately brings up a critical question, doesn't it? How does a city manage its most solemn spaces? You've got to balance deep respect for the deceased, for their families, with the hard practicalities of finite land. And we hear a discussion about marketing the area as well so that we can also get some money.
Which sounds a bit jarring, talking about a cemetery.
It does, but it reflects that constant struggle for revenue we keep hearing about. What's really eye-opening, though, is the problem revealed. Parts of the cemetery are apparently not used because the area is difficult to dig access.
Like physically hard to dig graves there.
Seems so. And that kind of practical, physical challenge can just throw a huge wrench into even the best laid plans, It impacts the city's ability to provide burial space and potentially hits those financial goals they have.
Yeah, you can almost feel the councilors grappling with this. It's profound stuff. Ideas get floated to deal with the difficult terrain, like using pre-made culture.
Pre-made cultures? What's that?
Well, one councilor clarifies it might mean like pre-dug graves or vaults to overcome the rocky ground.
Okay. Like liners or something. Makes sense.
Yeah. And allowing people to buy in advance to secure future plots. And crucially, managing grave size. Apparently, space was not managed well in other areas, and they filled up too quickly.
Right. Standardization is key there.
Exactly. The need for clear markings and resolutions is emphasized. It shows that even, in death, clarity and good planning really matter. You can really hear the passion in their voices on this one. It reflects the community's deep connection to these spaces and the desire to manage them properly, respectfully for future generations. Okay, let's pivot now. Let's talk about the council's lifeblood. Its finances.
Always a hot topic.
Always. The finance report sparks a heated debate, and this time it was all about revenue collection measures. Big concern surfaced about this ratio of change currently against salaries, which was 2.4.
2.4. That sounds low.
We'll get into that. And also the glaring lack of a master file for all our records, which for any organization sounds like a massive fundamental problem.
Yeah, that ratio of change currently against salary is 2.4. What it really signifies for the council's financial health is pretty alarming.
How so?
Well, think about it. For every dollar they spend on salaries, they're only bringing in $2.40 in revenue. That's a critical red flag. It suggests a really thin margin.
Like they're vulnerable.
incredibly vulnerable. Compared to typical public sector benchmarks, which often aim way higher for fiscal stability, that number indicates a significant cash flow problem, potentially an unsustainable operation.
Oh, okay.
And that context makes the next proposal really stark, engaging a legal firm for debt collection, not just the internal clerks in the finance department.
So bringing in lawyers.
Exactly. It signals a shift from admin collection to, well, aggressive legal procedures, with the costs potentially falling on the debtor's shoulders, meaning the person owing the money might end up paying the legal fees too.
And this proposed shift immediately triggers a really critical question from the counselors themselves. Have we cleaned our papers?
Good question.
A very good question. They worry, quite justifiably it seems, about the council's own records. They cite past court losses. One voice laments, we don't have some receipts, don't have some information to spend.
Oof, that's not good.
It highlights a profound lack of internal accountability, fragmented records that could just completely undermine any legal action they take.
Yeah, if your own house isn't in order.
Right. It's not just a clerical slip-up, a lack of a central master file for records. That points to a huge systemic vulnerability. Imagine trying to legally enforce debt collection or even just track property taxes when your own internal records are all over the place or missing.
It's a recipe for legal defeat and losing public trust.
Exactly, as their own past court losses seem to show.
And if we zoom out for a second, this isn't just a financial decision, is it? It's strategic. It could deeply impact the council's reputation, public trust.
Definitely.
The executive clarifies, look, this legal firm idea is a last resort. They emphasize offering payment plans first before going legal.
Okay, so they say there's a process.
Yes, but the counselors push back forcefully. Someone says, if you are not servicing the people, there's no point of keeping people putting policies on issues that are you failing to provide.
Wow, direct hit.
Yeah, and it highlights that fundamental tension again. The council's right to collect revenue versus its absolute responsibility to deliver basic services. It's a really valid point from the community's view, isn't it? Why should citizens pay up if they feel they're not getting the services they're taxed for?
You can hear the direct calls in the meeting for more transparency, more information. Who are the people who are owing council? Someone asks.
They want names.
Seems like it. And a very specific, almost pointed example gets brought up. A Mr. Sharma, who bought land from us and has not paid us for a number of years, apparently owes more than $30,000.
Okay, so it's not just small amounts. That's significant.
Right. That single anecdote really illustrates the scale of the problem and maybe the need for specific, actionable targets. And the whole debate over whether to decide on legal action now versus gathering more info first, it just showcases those real-time pressures of local democracy.
That push and pull between action and needing all the facts.
Exactly. Decisive action versus essential due diligence. Okay, finally, let's turn to the bustling, sometimes chaotic world of local commerce, specifically street vending.
Ah, the informal economy.
Yeah.
Always complex.
Totally. The council discusses proposed tariffs for vending days with sheds, that's $1 per day, and those without sheds, 50 cents per day. These are real, tangible costs impacting people's livelihoods every single day.
What's really interesting here, though, is the journey behind these tariffs. It shows a pretty multifaceted approach they're taking to managing this informal economy.
How so?
Well, the council hasn't just slapped on fees. They've actively moved vendors from doorsteps in the streets, presumably where they weren't supposed to be, to a designated terminus.
Okay, a central spot.
Right. Created around 60 bays, and apparently 32 of those have shelters. They even set up a committee specifically for the vendors' security.
So it's more than just charging them.
Exactly. It shows a significant, structured effort to formalize and manage the sector, moving beyond just regulation to actually providing some infrastructure, some safety, trying to improve the whole market environment.
But despite these efforts, counselors quickly raise practical concerns. Of course.
Naturally.
There's a debate over daily versus monthly payments. Different impacts on vendors' cash flow, council's admin burden.
Yeah, pros and cons to both.
And questions about the equity of registration.
Yeah.
How do you make sure all vendors are included, that it's a level playing field? A key issue that comes up is infrastructure, replacing the existing plastic ones.
The shelters.
Yeah, the temporary shelters, which apparently pose a fire risk, with smart sheds, which will attract people, both vendors and customers. Hints at wanting to upgrade the market's image and function.
Making it more appealing, safer.
Right. And there are still critical questions about vendors operating in areas that are not designated by council. And crucially, the potential lack of stakeholder engagement before setting these tariffs.
Did they talk to the vendors enough first?
That's the question being raised. It's a really compelling snapshot, isn't it? That delicate balance needed to manage an informal economy within formal rules, making sure everyone feels heard. Solutions are practical. Solutions are fair. So from those solemn opening prayers, those ambitious Vision 28 goals, through the really intricate details of managing sacred grave sites, the heated battles over debt collection, and that delicate balancing act with vending tariffs. This deep dive has really given you, I hope, a front row seat to the raw complexities of local governance.
It certainly feels like it.
We've seen that constant push and pull, idealism versus practicality, the struggle for essential revenue, and the deeply human element in every single policy decision. The sources, I think, reveal a council just relentlessly grappling with profound resource limits, historical issues like those record-keeping problems,
Yeah, those are big.
and the immediate, often conflicting needs of its citizens. All while trying to stick to established policies, ensure fairness, and somehow maintain public trust. It's messy, it's passionate,
And utterly vital.
utterly vital. It's the process that truly shapes the communities we all live in, maybe far more directly than many national debates.
And this whole discussion, it really compels us to ask a final question, doesn't it? In a world where every single local decision directly impacts residents, how might different approaches, maybe more innovative approaches to transparency and continuous stakeholder engagement reshape that trust and compliance? If citizens feel genuinely invested, actually heard, could that foster a deeper sense of ownership, a collective responsibility maybe, in shaping their city's future, perhaps transforming some of these challenges into, well, shared opportunities?
As we wrap up this episode of Hwange Chronicles, we hope you've gained valuable insights into the workings of our local governance and the crucial role it plays in shaping our community. From the management of essential services to addressing complex local issues, it's clear every voice matters. We encourage you to stay engaged and participate in public meetings. Your input can drive meaningful change and foster a stronger and more vibrant community. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Let's continue to work together for the betterment of Hwange. Until next time, stay informed and stay involved.